Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and as you can see from the title of this video, I will be giving my commentary on Destiny Payton's latest Mental Monday show, which she held on a Tuesday. And she's going to be talking about how she feels like the cast has held Martell Holt from Love and Marriage Huntsville accountable and her life coach. Although I feel like when she's definitely focused on therapeutic things, she says a lot of great stuff, but she does bring up, having bitterness within. And she also gives like a general statement to the recent conviction. All right, so now before we get into all of these details, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video. You hear us content creators ask that not only for ourselves, but when we're in other people's chats. Shout out to Queen Sheba. I was in her chat, and once I saw she was starting to close it down, I said, please hit the like button, because that's important. Then YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy discussing the various topics that come about Love and Marriage Huntsville. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show's Style and Spirit. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion, and the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed for criticism. Okay, so we are going to jump right on in with Destiny speaking about the cast holding Martell accountable. I'm going to go ahead and play this soundbite, and then I will come back with my commentary.
I would say that this cast friend group definitely held Martell accountable. Absolutely. As things were transpiring and things were happening 4 or 5 years ago, we all had our opinions, and I know for me, I gave him the business. He was mad at me for telling him, what I felt was wrong. So if you feel comfortable answering this question, you can. What made you keep your friendship with Martell? What made me keep my friendship with Martell? Because I know you've received some criticism for that. I'm confused as to why wouldn't I? I mean, somebody I've known since high school. I met his wife through him, and I'm a woman first, so of course I'm gonna tell him how he moved was wrong, what he did was some of the things that he did, and some of the choices that he made was wrong. But I also, I know too much. I know too much to eat. First of all, I'm an adult. There is no sides to pick. The side is right. So I chose to try to stay neutral and try to love them and meet them where they were. And Marcel stayed consistent as a friend. He kept showing up as a friend. Okay. So his consistency also played a role in you maintaining your friendship. And one question, how open was he to receiving feedback that you would give him when you would tell him he was wrong? Not at all. not at all. Let me just get not even a little bit. It took him years to take accountability. And he did, and he still, we still have our moments. And he always, a couple weeks ago, I was like, don't you get tired of coming back and telling me I was right? I don't want to be right no more. I just want you to do right. Gotcha. Yeah. So you're able to take, or he's able to receive something, even if he doesn't make changes in his behavior right away. It sounds like he'll come back and say to you that there are times when it's like, okay, you're right. So he would acknowledge, he's able to acknowledge some of his missteps. Is that what you're saying? Absolutely.
Okay. So, of course, Destiny and her life coach Deon, they are pretty much giving their response, in my opinion, to Melody's epic scene with Sunny at the end of the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, where Melody was saying, so many of the cast, they are so pro Destiny, in turn being anti Sunny. But when she was in a similar situation and she was actually married to Martell, people made excuses for Martell, saying that he is a good guy and that they didn't even want to believe the news that he had gotten the mistress pregnant, because he's such a good guy. But when it comes to Destiny, they are just like hands down pro Destiny, and they show her a lot of compassion. Well, Destiny was saying, oh, but the cast, we did hold Martell accountable. I gave him the business. Now, if you ever binge watch the older seasons of Love and Marriage Huntsville, there is a scene at Madani where it's Martell and Destiny, and she was saying, I saw your post with the picture of the kids, and you talk about, you're gonna, like, your fifth kid will just be the last one to go to school or something. It was very insensitive. I do remember her saying that to him, and then she said the lack of empathy is jarring. I remember that from, like, when I binge watch it, like, I definitely know that scene. So I will say that she did that, on camera. But as far as like the entire cast, holding Martell accountable, I do disagree. I don't feel the same way. I feel like everyone covers for him, even to this day. They'll say, oh, that's just Martell. Martell's just being Martell. But I think that was her way of giving a rebuttal to Melody's scene with Sunny at the boutique, where they were trying on a swimwear and shopping for the girls' trip. And I have to say, I think the life coach, she was teeing it up for Destiny to say that, and it's fine. I'm sure, again, they've learned pre-production from CK. He probably even gives feedback on, the YouTube segments for them to do. But definitely, that was, in my opinion, Destiny's rebuttal to that scene. So now we definitely have other things to talk about as well. Even the life coach was trying to say, oh yeah, so he may struggle with changing his behavior, but he does receive what you all say. And I definitely do not think that that's the case. I think that once you do try to tell Martell that he's wrong, he is going off and he expects people to change his tune. A very good example of that is his mom, Miss Marlene. When Melody first left him, I remember Marlene telling him, you just like your daddy. And then Martell did not like that. And then thereafter, that's when Miss Marlene was caping for him. So, but let's move on. So, this next soundbite is coming from the life coach, and she's going to talk about, us putting ourselves in other people's shoes and being honest about our own life experiences. So, that is my intro to this soundbite. So, I'm going to go ahead and play it and come back with my commentary.
Honest, we've all had a moment where you looked at somebody and was like, I don't, if we're being honest, I think we can probably relate to everybody at some point in our life at that table, including the person that you might have an issue with. I think we can all relate in some ways to everybody who's sitting at that table. I know my heart has been in pain before, and before I could work that thing out, I just wanted that person to get got. You know what I mean? I have been to a place of bitterness before. That's why I can say with great confidence now, it's not somewhere where you want to camp out. It's not. It will destroy your soul. You cannot stay bitter with somebody and then not take that in for yourself. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm speaking from experience. I don't have no judgment for people. Because I've lived the human experience myself. So raise your hand if you've ever been bitter. Like, raise your hand. If you ever had a wound that you did not allow God to heal in a timely manner, I know I've been there. I know I've been there.
Okay. So she talked about, even the people that are pro destiny, I'll say it that way. She, in my opinion, I'm paraphrasing, this is how I interpreted what she said. Even if you are pro destiny and you are not pro that person, she said you should be able to relate to everyone who was sitting at that table, meaning the tasting at the Sage Lounge, which is Kimmy and Maurice's new business. She was saying you should be able to relate to everyone at that table. And then she said that she has even been, angry at someone who did her wrong. And, she had to work that thing out so that the bitterness would not remain and would not fester. I'm paraphrasing. So I just found that to be interesting, out of everyone who could be the person that she interprets, in her opinion, to be bitter. And I just want to say, because I can't prove who I think she's talking about, but I just want to say that the dynamic of Love and Marriage Huntsville, it is more of a unique situation, because even when you deal with someone who has bullied you or betrayed you or disrespected you or scammed you, or cheated, ideally you get to move on in the physical sense, including not physically working with them. They're not a coworker, year after year for several months out of the year. So when you are dealing with that person and you're physically seeing them and they are a coworker, their name comes up in conversations where you're filming scenes with coworkers, it could be very easy to actually keep those experiences and those feelings and those thoughts in the forefront, because you have to still deal with this person. I've seen a lot of couples that I knew in church, when they would divorce, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of, like, half of the couples, they would totally leave the church because they don't even want to see their now ex-spouse. And that's just church, where you're there a couple times a week. Or maybe if you're super duper involved and so is your spouse, maybe you would see them a few times a week for like an hour or so each time. But this is a coworker that you would be filming scenes with, and it takes hours to do so, plus cast trips, plus a reunion that can be intense. So it's easy for all of those associated feelings with that former relationship to come up, to kind of bubble to the surface when you have to work with the person. If couples that are not working together, they actually leave their place of worship where they were enjoying it because the marriage is over, and you spend a few hours a week at the church, I think that says a lot. So if I'm right about the person that she is speaking of, that in her opinion is bitter, I definitely say give that person some grace, because this is a unique situation where she has to work with him a lot. Okay, and now she has set boundaries so that she does not have to deal with that person nearly as much. So now, this is something that I feel like is a good thing that the life coach Deon said. I was not expecting this at all, and I definitely want to talk about it. And she talks about the viewers of the show not holding any grudges. And then she said, and I challenge all of you in the chat, meaning Destiny's chat, to not hold a grudge against the quote unquote that person. So I'm going to go ahead and play this soundbite, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
Remember, I was talking about double standards? Just like you refuse to hold a grudge against Destiny, I want you to refuse to hold a grudge against a cast member. Sir. Members. And And I do mean all of them. I do mean all of them. Every single one. It depends on the day, y'all. Yeah, that's Deon talking. That ain't me. That's and I'm gonna challenge you on it. I'm gonna challenge you on it every doggone time. It is important for your own soul. It is important for your own mental health not to. And a lot of times, living for me 75 said that's like starting a new relationship with baggage. Absolutely. Which everybody comes to relationships with baggage. It's just what you're healed from and healing from. Yes. But healing happens. It's a decision first. Forgiveness is a decision first. Now, listen, I am not saying forgiveness means reconciliation. Because if you look at Jesus' model, he does not reconciliate. God doesn't reconcile without repentance. So, reconciliation, you need more than just you need more than a lot of times you need more than an apology, to be honest, for reconciliation. That's not what I'm asking for. That's not what I'm even trying to tell you. There are some people in your lives that you absolutely should not reconcile with. It's not in your best interest to do that. But forgiveness is. Forgiveness is always going to be in your best interest. And forgiveness is really refusing to hold a grudge, refusing to allow your soul to be sick. So listen, remember when I was talking about them double standards? This is where I hold you accountable. Do you have a double standard? Are you justifying going in on I wish you could see these
Okay, so she actually said, not just wanting those who may not care for Destiny, viewers of the show, to not hold a grudge against her. She's also saying, don't hold a grudge against Mel for those who do not, care for Melody. And I thought that was a piece of positivity. That was something she was trying to say, like, if we're not just going to ask for support for Destiny, if we're going to do that, then we have to reciprocate it for everyone, including those whom Destiny may have a problem with. So, as far as I know, it seemed sincere. It seemed like she was speaking from a life coach perspective. She was being responsible with it. I think that, she definitely wants to maintain her professionalism. So the life coach, so she was definitely carrying that message as well. And there were some people giving, some pushback, where they feel driven to, share their perspective, their opinions regarding the show and the cast. But she would still say, if you're going to, give that fight, however you feel, just also guard your heart, be careful, I guess, or keep in mind to still do unto others as you would have them do unto you, was the way that I interpreted it. So as a professional, with her being a life coach, I am glad that she put that information out there, because she did not have to do it. And I think that it helps to cover some of her previous content and commentary, like on the motherless discussion. I think that she has come a long way since back then, when she was speaking on things that, totally did not involve her or anything, about Destiny. And if you remember, just for clarification, when Melody talked about motherless daughters, she was talking about a friend who called her and confided in her about some of the things that she was dealing with. And her friend said she felt like it was because growing up, she did not have her mom in her life. And it had nothing to do with any of Melody's fellow cast members. And so I just feel like tonight's commentary from the life coach, it's come a long way since back then. So now this next soundbite, I want to talk about their response. Really, Destiny did not say anything. This is all coming from the life coach in regards to the conviction. And so it's going to start off very generic and almost political, like a very clean message that someone wrote almost, like kind of like a fixer. Olivia Pope may have written it. And then there's going to be a message about reputation. So I'm going to go ahead and play this soundbite and come back with my commentary.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm sure there are people, some of you have reached out, so I'm sure you're aware of some of the situations that are happening with court stuff. So here's what we do. We're going to be smart, and we're not going to try things in a court of public opinion that need to be handled somewhere else. We're going to be smart about that. We're going to see a process all the way through, all right? So if you were coming for that, go ahead and save yourself an hour and click off now. You're fine. 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Well, 50 minutes at this point, because I'm counting the minutes. Yeah, so save yourself some time. Because that's not what we're doing over here. We're going to be super smart about that part. And I will say that that'll be addressed when it needs to be addressed. All right, y'all? And so people will do what they do. People will take the information that they think they have to run with it. And we'll be okay with that. Because part of being resilient is not fighting to protect things that you cannot protect. So this is for the whole tribe. If you're going through something, let me just say this. If you've been living any time, what you know is life is not always fair. I hate to break your bubble. It's not always fair. Now, we're not saying things are, like I said, we're not going to get into a whole bunch of things, but that's how it is. Life is life sometimes. So, thank you, Dana. Yes, Dana. She said, just keeping your law lifted up in prayer. And that's what that's about, period. So that's what I want our tribe doing. I don't have no control over what other people do. But our tribe, I want you praying. Yes, I want you praying. And so here's the deal. You got to equip yourself for all kinds of things in life. And one of the things, because you are a public figure, Destiny, and this is just for anybody anyway, all of our tribe, let me tell you something that's universal. You are not responsible for your reputation. Do you know what your reputation has to go through? It has to go through other people's biases. It has to go through other people's misinformation. It has to go through other people's whatever they got going on up here. You're not responsible for your reputation. What you are responsible for is your character development. That's all.
Okay, so I thought that was very interesting at the end. In the beginning, I get it. Like I said, in the beginning, it was like a very generic statement. We're not going to basically talk about that because it does involve legal stuff, and we're not going to deal with the court of public opinion. Then she said that sometimes life is not fair. She kind of segued into pretty much it was giving like a pep talk or something that, you would say to make someone feel better. And I kind of feel like it may not be exactly what she would need to hear to truly be helpful. She said we cannot control our reputation because it has to go through so many filters, people's biases, people's opinions, but you can control your character development. Now that kind of sounds like she was, kind of giving something that Destiny needed to hear, almost like perhaps Destiny confided in her about, the mistakes that she made allegedly with the ex. So she's probably saying, reputation meaning you can't worry about how you look to other people. You can't control that, but you can control your character development. Almost like Destiny is working on changing herself so she doesn't do those same things that, according to her ex, Leberick, that she has done and was found guilty of, allegedly. But I thought that was very interesting. I've never thought of not being in control of your reputation. in my opinion, you're not in control of what others think of you. You're not in control of what others says about you. So you really should not care what they think and say because you can't control it anyway. But your reputation, I feel like it is rooted in some truth. It's rooted in things that you say and do. Because when I think of your reputation, I think of like a work reputation. Are you known to have good attendance? Are you known to start work on time? Are you known to be a hard worker? Are you known on the job to not be a gossip? You know, you may have a rep amongst, people in the dating scene if they know that you try to get to know a person, if they know that you prefer companionship and commitment, you're not loose, that would be rooted in some truth. Now, can someone lie about that? Sure. But your works, your acts would totally back up who you are. So I do disagree with the life coach Deon about you not being able to control your reputation. I feel like your actions, your works can totally speak for your reputation. You cannot control people's opinions about you, which does not have to be based on anything. But I thought that that was very interesting, her spin on it. Um, if you follow Destiny and you checked out her life stories, it appeared as though she had some sort of event where she was showcasing her products. And I did see Deon in one of the IG stories. So she was definitely there. And she did mention that she was in Huntsville. And, Destiny was like, "Mom's the word." She didn't really say much. So I assume that it's being filmed for the show. So we may even see the life coach Deon on Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. But again, from this Mental Mondays on a Tuesday, life coach Deon did talk about reflecting inward, not only, I guess, having opinions about the cast members, but trying to put yourself in their shoes. If there's anything about their storyline that you could relate to, or if it triggers you, she said to pose the question to yourself, why are you triggered? And she said that forgiveness is simply not holding a grudge, and that forgiveness does not mean automatic reconciliation. And she said that for some people who have abused you or violated you, betrayed you, it is not in your best interest to let some people back into your life. So forgiveness and reconciliation are definitely two different things. And she said, you cannot control, people's actions. You cannot control how people respond to things, but you can choose whether or not you're going to deal with someone's disrespectful or inappropriate behavior. And, you shouldn't deal with that. And she said that's what's called a boundary when you decide to not deal with it. So there were definitely some takeaways, some good things to pull out of it if you want something therapeutic to listen to. But I thank you so much for listening and or watching this video. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Shows Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope that you had a terrific Tuesday. I did get a chance to work out. I both walked outside for 45 minutes. Then I went to the gym and worked on the lower, like squats, lunges, and a few of the machines, like the leg curls and the leg presses, and did leg lifts, on a mat with like a weight on the thigh, and you lift that leg up with the 10-pound weight. So definitely got a chance to work out, got a chance to work on some content in the midnight hour, literally. And I just hope that you all have a wonderful Wednesday. I really, really do. And I will talk with you soon. Bye.